All right, thanks. I'm excited to talk about TDengine and visualization today. So a little bit about TDengine. TDengine is a time series database. We've been around for 8 years. We just celebrated our 8th anniversary. It was founded in 2017. TDengine is based on an open source project with almost 24,000 stars and almost 5,000 forks on GitHub. We have 790,000 installations in 70 countries worldwide, and we've raised $70 million from multiple VCs. We have 500 customers, mainly in the energy and IoT space, and we have offices in North America and Asia with a heavy concentration of developers. We have a lot of developers working on the core TDengine engine. TDengine is trusted by over 500 customers worldwide. We've got just a small list of some of the customers here, including McDonald's, Siemens, Mingyang, and CATL, which is one of the world's biggest battery manufacturers. So we also like to talk about the TDengine ecosystem, which is made up of all the different data sources that we connect to and all of the visualization options that you can use to see your data. As a part of an IoT system, we connect to many IoT-related protocols and databases like MQTT, PostgreSQL, SQL Server. Like, I'm not going to say them all, but there you can see our data sources on the left. And then for getting your data out of TDengine, we work with a lot of visualization tools from Grafana and Prospective, which we have here today, of course, to just basic stuff like Excel and any other tools you may use. So why TDengine? Like, why is it so good? Well, there's 5 core reasons. The first is the ingestion performance. The second is the query latency and concurrency, which we'll dive more into both of those. But it's also the storage efficiency. We have tiered storage, so you can have different layers of storage or different storage timeframes and classes, as well as the edge to cloud synchronization, which allows you to collect data from multiple sources and put that in a centralized data store on the cloud. We also have scalability of up to 1 billion devices in terms of collecting data. And so in terms of ingestion performance, we have a chart here showing some results using the TSBS benchmark. And this is a industry standard benchmark, and you can see that TDengine has a much higher data insert rate. These are the number of inserts per second for compared against TDengine, timescale DB, and influx. And so here you can see that it's multiple times faster at the 100 device level and a few times faster at all the other device levels. So that's on the ingestion side, getting data into TDengine. On the querying side, I have some performance here. So this is query performance running queries across the same database engine, comparison of TDengine, timescale DB, and influx. And you can see that TDengine has a much higher query performance rate than the other database engines. And we were able to achieve P99 latency for a customer and get all their queries to under 100 milliseconds. So that's enough about TDengine for now. And I'd like to introduce Param so he could talk about Prospective.
Thanks a lot, Joel. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. First of all, it's an honor to be here with you. I know you and I, or with TDengine, we've worked across multiple clients together. but it's good to present the solution publicly here and do the webinar. So thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
My slides, yeah, appreciate that. My slides are pretty short, so I'm just going to quickly talk about Prospective and our tool. I just have one slide. I know everybody wants to see the demo, so I'm going to keep it short. This is just the single slide. I'm going to talk about a little bit of what we're going to show as well, and I'll hand it back off to Joel. So we are a data visualization company. What is different between us and a lot of other data visualization tools are out there are the points that you see here on this slide. First, before I get into that, a little bit of lingo. You're going to hear me talk about two different things, perspective and prospective. Perspective is the open source data visualization library that's been around, like TDengine, actually for about 10 years. It's widely used. It has a lot of stars on GitHub. And Prospective is our company. So it's the founders of Prospective stepped away, and about 3-4 years ago, it started Prospective, which is the commercial company supporting Perspective. So just a little bit of lingo. If you hear us talk about Perspective and Prospective, that's the connection. Perspective, the open source, Prospective, the commercial company behind the open source project. Now, what's different about Perspective is the visualization happens on your device, and it's based around concept that we say local first. And by that mean all the computation, when users do like different aggregates, different pivots, or different chart types, all of that stuff is happening on the browser, on the mobile device. How we're doing that underneath the hood to keep up with sort of the speeds that we can keep up with, just like TDengine showed you, really at scale, you start seeing the difference there. For us, we do that by that our data visualization library is actually built in C and runs natively on your browser via WebAssembly or WASM. If we were going to do like something that other data visualization libraries do that are DOM based or canvas based, obviously, like we won't just not keep up with the data rates that we would keep up with. So, and it's also, our technology is very easy to embed. So as far as embedding this into other applications, mobile applications, desktop applications, all it is for Perspective for the client, which you'll see in a second for the viewer, is in a custom HTML tag. So very easy to embed in HTML, in a React app, in a Vue app, other apps, that you might have. And it just, again, uses all the processing power of the local device. On the other side, our biggest difference here is speed at scale that Joel was talking about. You saw TDengine really, it starts coming apart at that like 10 million, really high, or hundreds of millions of rows. That's what sets us apart too. If you need sub-second response time on a data visualization library that's built for real-time streaming data, that's keeping up with pretty much painting hundreds of thousands plus data points on the screen, we're pretty much one of the only libraries out there that can keep up with that. We do that again underneath is because it's C++ code, it's native code that runs, and we use Apache Arrow. We only transfer deltas between like the data point or the server and the viewer. So even the transfer protocol is optimized there. What that means for our users, it's scale. So when you're deploying Perspective or Prospective across millions, hundreds of thousands, or millions of different users, you are going to not really have to scale up all the cloud resources that you need, usually with the other data visualization tools, to keep up with that many users, because again, we're doing everything locally on the device. So we scale much easier to many users, and that means much lower cost as far as deploying a data visualization to a high number of like mobile or app users. Now, what we're going to show you today is a demo of Perspective and TDengine working together. So Joel is going to show you TDengine Cloud. We actually have a data producer that's going to simulate market data, real-time market data streams, and it's going to generate just tons of like stock, movement, buying and selling stocks, and it's going to push that into the TDengine Cloud. And Joel is going to show you the TDengine Cloud interface. Then he's going to pass it back to me, and I'm going to show you kind of the consumer portion of that. So this bottom portion where I'll be reading from TDengine Cloud, demoing how you can use the built-in Prospective TDengine connector to immediately connect to that and start visualizing data, but I'll also show you a little bit of code, how to set that up with Prospective to pretty much build an application that has a Prospective viewer embedded into an HTML page. So I'll hand it back off to you, Joel. Thanks again.
Thank you, Param. All right, so let's see. We've got the architecture here. So in terms of the architecture, I'm actually just going to show the cloud first and then go back to the code. And I'm going to add this now in. You should be seeing, nope, not seeing my screen. Let's show that now. Thank you. And not now. Let's put in, there we go. Are you seeing?
We're seeing your screen now, Joel. Yep. Sorry.
And you're seeing the Explorer?
I'm seeing the TDengine Cloud window that you
awesome.
have.
Great. So this is TDengine. Just really quick, wanted to show the speed of TDengine in our demo instance. We have a smart meters database with a billion records, and I'm just going to run it. And this one actually is going to do a count and average per location, and that ran in 11 seconds. So over 10 billion records, it was able to do a grouping by location and get an average current and count there. And just to show, I can show the count here. This is that. So just to count the 10 billion records only took 414 milliseconds. And for the demo that we're doing today, I've got a webinar database, which is empty. And I'm going to come over now to the code sample that we'll be sharing as a part of the webinar. So this is the producer script that produces the data. And this can be configured to use either our cloud solution, our enterprise cloud solution, or the open source version, or if you run the enterprise version locally. So you can see this, there's an option to run this example locally. And this this will insert random stock data into the database and comes through and is inserted here in the main function. There's also some parameters at the top that allow us to adjust the speed that the data is coming in. So the script will run for 1 hour, and every 250 milliseconds or quarter of a second, it's going to send 100 records. So I will kick this off now. And so this is now creating the database and inserting 100 rows at a time into this database here, which we can now see some of the structure coming in. And with that, I will pass it back to Param.
Thanks a lot, Joel. I'm going to take it from here. So first, let me show you now what Joel demonstrated is inserting into the TDengine Cloud. So I'm going to jump right into Prospective and start visualizing that data. As you know, as a data engineer, I love looking at the code and see how the code works. But of course, like everybody on this demo, I'm sure they want to see the visualizations. So what I'm showing you here is Prospective.co, and this is available for everyone to use. There's a number of different connectors here that you can use out of the box without even creating a login. So everybody that's on the webinar, please go ahead and just try this now. You can connect to a lot of data sources that's out there. You bring in your data and start visualizing it right away. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to come in our sources tab and connect to the TDengine. So we already have an out-of-the-box TDengine connector that is able to connect to TDengine cloud and start visualizing that data right away. So what I'll do is start a new connection. I have to give it, of course, my credentials. I have my credentials stored, so I put that in. And I just have to give it like the URL of the TDengine cloud that I'm connecting to and an SQL statement that I'll be pulling data from TDengine. So let's get a couple of these. So I have the SQL statement here in my TDengine cloud. So I'm just going to copy and paste that into the box here, which is the same table that Joel just populated. And if I come to, believe my instance, this is my TDengine cloud URL. So I'll put that in as well. I give this table a name, and I'm going to click connect. So I have my connection information. I have my SQL all set here, and let's connect. Now, you can see actually, again, kind of behind the scene, what's impressive here is that everything's running on my browser. So the browser connected to the TDengine cloud and started pulling all that data in that Joel is inserting in real time. Now I can start visualizing data. So you can see it's market data. It's a couple different index funds and clients, and they are trading stocks, different tickers of stocks. So I want to see what's the volume, per stock per these like clients. So let's start doing that. I'm going to start doing some aggregation, doing some customizations here. So I'm going to group by ticker, and I like to split by, let's say, the client. Those are the people who are like Berkshire Hathaway. Now I'm showing too much stuff. I'm going to just show, like, for example, how much volume there are moving, and I'm going to show the open. So what's the open and close price? So I'm going to do the mean of this. And you can see that you can easily configure your dashboard to show different visualization. What I'm going to do is like, grid view is not the best here, so I'm going to just come and switch my chart type. Let's take a look at this on a Y area. So different clients, how much of these stocks are moving. You can kind of see their portion of the stock. It's really nice here that I can start creating like a layout. So this is nice, but I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to come and reconfigure this layout a little bit differently. Let's flip this. Let's group by client and split by the ticker here. So a little bit different visualization. This is not really great as a Y bar. I'm going to do this as a Y bar, so I can view that and I can do these side by side. Now, again, I can really start creating this layout. I can mix and match different data sources, different data types, different tables in Prospective. So from TDengine, so I can bring in different tables from TDengine and again view those side by side. Let me show you a couple other features here. I'm gonna again like duplicate this, and I'm gonna come back to the grid view for this. I'll put ticker and client. I'll actually take off client here, put that back. Let me bring this over on this side and stack my layout perhaps up and down. So I stack these two below each other. And now I'm going to create like a global filter out of this. So now when I click on these, I have to actually, do this a little bit better. This is the other way. Ticker. Yep. When I click on this, I only see the relevant data, maybe a histogram of the trades over time for each particular client and ticker. Now, again, something that's nice here, a couple other features. Once we have a Jupyter notebook, so if I want to actually massage this data, if I want to do some more custom coding or data transformation, I can use a Jupyter notebook, like a Python notebook, to start interact with data and massage that data and then visualize it right here within my environment. I also am able to easily share this with other people in my company. So if I give this a name, let's say my dashboard, I can click save here. And now you see I get a little URL, and I can just copy and paste that in Slack to my team member, and they can open that, see, again, if they have, granted, if they have the same level of access to the TD engine or the underlying data, they can open this dashboard and start visualizing that, even forking it from mine and do their own modification, or we can just collaborate on this dashboard together. So that's a quick view into Prospective. Let me show you now inside the code and Prospective how we can use our open source library to connect to TD Engine and in real time visualize this data in a browser application. So what I have here is a simple browser application that I've built. You can see it's a Node application. So I have my package.json, I have a couple of source files, and I have an index HTML that is going to embed Prospective Viewer inside of it. So let me jump to the code side and show you what's, again, here. So first, it's the index HTML. It's what's going to be the viewed at the end to the user. So it's a very simple web app per se. I install the Prospective libraries from CDN. So you can see the WASM packages that are being installed here via the CDN. Then embedding Prospective, as I said, into a web app is just as simple as dropping a Prospective viewer. So the libraries here will give us a custom HTML tag, and I can just drop that HTML tag into any application that I have. It's a little bit of code here that you see in a script model, which connects Prospective to a data source. In this case, the data source that we have is a Prospective server. So, and I'll show you the code for that too. The Prospective server, all it is there is going to connect. It's a server component that's going to connect to TD Engine, and it's going to pull data from TD Engine on an interval. So it's going to keep querying TD Engine and create then a Prospective, what we call a Prospective table, which will update information in that table. Now that table can be viewed by a number of different viewers. So client applications are connecting to that server, and they use WebSocket to do that. So the server and the viewer connect via WebSocket. And here you can see that I open a WebSocket, connect to my Prospective server that's running locally on this machine. I open the table and I configure the viewer based on that. So let's see what's in the server. It's a pretty straightforward application here against a Node application. We also have APIs for Python and Rust. So pretty much choose a language of your own and code away. And you can see, just like Joel showed, this code is able to run both with TD Engine Cloud and a local TD Engine installation. And we'll be sharing that code via GitHub to you. So you can clone this repo and run this on your own. What do you see here? It creates a connection to TD Engine, to the TD Engine Cloud, and it just starts sending a SQL query to query the data. So it's going to query that database and table that Joel was generating, and it's going to put the data in a nice array of a dictionary array, and it's going to create a Prospective table that has the same schema as our TD Engine Cloud, and it will just go on a loop, query the database, and update that Prospective table with that array of data that we're getting back. And that's all it is. And this is a server component. So now a number of different client applications, again, like the HTML applications, and connect to this server and view the data. So let's run this. I'm going to say npm run server, which will run by the server component. Maybe that is not the name that I gave it. So I'm going to come here and package.json. Oh, consumer, I named it. That's good. So clear npm run consumer. Now this has started the Prospective server in the backend. So I'm going to open a new window and also run the npm run dev, which will just serve the HTML, the index HTML file. It has a Vite server that serves the HTML file on a port. So now I'm going to come back here, go to the link that it gave me, localhost 30,000. And this is the index HTML. And you can see like I have the same perspective viewer here that should be connecting to the data. Let's rerun this. Somehow it's not getting the data. And this is always the demo effect. You run this right before and it runs, and you run right at the thing and it doesn't run. And might have done something to it that it's not able to run, but I think everybody gets the idea. Let me run this again. Npm run dev. So white server, it's on 3.3,000. And let's see, did I run it from the, I ran it from the node directory, so that's all, that should be all good. Let me just refresh this. Oh, sorry folks, I think I've done something to this and it was just running a second ago, but the code is available. You can go ahead and run it, and I'll make sure that you know, that runs well for you.
And what people would be seeing would be a similar experience to the Prospective, the online experience. They're just running it locally, right? It's pretty much the same thing, just running locally.
Exactly. So you get this almost same exact view instead of perspective.co. That's localhost. It's on your local machine. That's running it. Exactly.
Okay. Great.
With that, I will hand it back off to you, Joel. Let me stop my stream, and actually we can open it up to Q&A.
Yeah, we'll open it up. We'll take, so if there were any questions, let me check the chat, the audience chat, and see if there are any questions. I think we have a couple of questions. Let's see. Could you walk through how the TDengine Prospective integration works under the hood, especially how the data is pushed to the WebAssembly and WebSocket clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. We were trying to show that. So two different things again. I think it's very important to notice that there's an integration with Prospective. And in Prospective, so if you go to prospective.co, all of our commercial users, they have access to the TDengine adapter. So that's pretty much with no code. Users can go to Prospective, use the built-in data adapter to connect to TDengine Cloud or a TDengine local instance and start pulling the data. And that's what I was showing. So with that, you just need your SQL statement, connection configuration, and the browser Prospective connects to the TDengine Cloud, again, all within the browser. And there's no like server component to that. And starts bringing the data and allowing you to visualize that data right away. Now, inside Prospective with the open source, like you said, there is a server component that you need. So typically, what the Prospective viewer, which is what is user interacting with and what's visualizing data, all the charts and so forth, that lives inside an HTML application or web application or mobile application. Now that needs to connect to data. Of course, there's APIs that can connect to data directly, but mostly for streaming sort of applications, it's good to have a server component or Prospective server that will connect to. That connection between the viewer and the server is via a WebSocket. And also it uses the Apache Arrow for the data transfer. So it's very fast, very high speed, low latency. And on the Prospective server side, what we showed here was a Node.js application that uses the TDengine WebSocket, again, APIs, and also using our Prospective WebSocket API that keeps pulling data from TDengine and updating a Prospective table. And that table then gets broadcasted to all the clients. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So it's the integration is handled either through the Prospective service or through the server that you run locally to the local Prospective viewer.
Yeah, exactly. And
Totally
you can run
sense.
that server, Prospective server, pretty much anywhere. So locally on the cloud or on the edge that you have. Yep.
Okay. We had another question here. How does Prospective compare to other tools like Grafana?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I mean, data visualization space is very big. Of course, there's many different tools here, many different tools that are very well suited for a lot of different applications. Compared to Grafana, I think what our users have said mostly to us is twofold, and I'm going to go back to a speed and scale. So really, if you want to get that sub-second response time to the data visualization, if you have uh, kind of IoTs, energy applications that have high data volumes at very fast speed, which again is where TDengine really shines, I think, in the time series database. That's where we shine as well. So you have hundreds of thousands of rows that are updating sub-second. That again, that's going to be the differentiator for us. And again, using all of our data visualization happen locally. So we get very fast, low latency response as number of users kind of add up on the on the viewer side, because we're using the local client, mostly the client device and the computation on the client. So again, on the edge. So at scale, when you start adding more users and you still want to keep up with that like second or sub-second response time, I think that's where you're going to see us like separating away a little bit. Also, I would say some of our users have said that how easy it is to embed perspective or prospective. So it is just as easy as dropping an HTML component on any application that you have, and it's pretty much ready to go. We also have like a React component that's like purposely built, for libraries like React. So it's much more developer friendly per se, and easy to embed into kind of bigger applications that you're building.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that about it, and yeah, the speed, and yeah, great point about the client, being able to scale to more clients, because I think that's the Grafana being sort of a centralized application is where it might fall down, right? Where
Exactly.
you're
Yeah,
really
that's
shifting that, yeah, to the client. That's great.
that's
Yeah, it
great.
was awesome to see you build the visualizations as well, and to see how quickly you were able to slice and dice the data using Prospective.
Appreciate you. Yeah, same. It's been actually fantastic to see the performance of TDengine. I remember the first time I saw the ingest speeds as one of the projects that we worked on. I was just wowed, and I love the concept of the super tables that you have, so you can really like parallelize the loading, and it's fantastic.
Well, awesome. And I think we have the QR code here for the actually the repository, so people can download the code and test it and play with it themselves. And some follow-up, if you have questions about TDengine, you can email us jfan@TDengine. And if you have questions about Prospective, you can email Param. And of course, you can also check out our respective websites at tdengine.com and prospective.co.
It was
So,
great collaborating again, Joel. Yeah, same.
yeah.
I invite everyone to go play with the code. So everything that we showed is on GitHub. We'll be sharing the GitHub link as well. And yeah, please connect with me directly, param at prospective.co. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything later.
All right. Well, thanks to our viewers, and thanks, Param. And I think that's all. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.